Hi, this is Scott Bogren, Editor-in-Chief of Community Transportation Magazine, welcoming you to our New Mexico edition, our edition focusing on transit across the land of enchantment. It's our summer 2012 edition, and we're really excited about this edition of the magazine because we think it really highlights all the facets and benefits and the invaluable role of community and public transit across New Mexico. The state editions that we do are always some of the favorite magazines we produce. And we've now done 13 states, so more than a quarter of the states in the country, we have focused on looking at transit across those states. And when you get the chance, as Rich Sampson, the editor of CT, and myself, when you get the chance to really do this, you learn a lot about how public and community transportation works in a state. And you really get to tell a lot of stories that too often in our industry and also just in the regular media go untold. Stories of just wonderful innovation, of outstanding customer service and commitment to one's community. We see innovations in technology. We see some wonderful adaptations of buildings and ideas of intermodalism and connectivity that just really, and most importantly, make a difference in the lives of people in these states. And New Mexico was certainly no different, and we're pleased to finally package all that together into this edition. Some of the places we traveled, and I'll hit on each of the visits we made when we traveled across New Mexico, kind of chronologically. We started out in Albuquerque, visiting with ABQ Ride, which is the largest urban operator in the state of New Mexico, and is a fantastic system, kind of represented by its very iconic transit center downtown, which you'll see some pictures of, and hopefully will be something we'll be visiting in June of this year when we do our annual Community Transportation Expo in New Mexico. From Albuquerque, we traveled up to Santa Fe, the state capital, beautiful state capitol building. We visited with Santa Fe Trails there, which is, again, a smaller urban transit system, a lot of fixed routes. Between those two, we squeezed in a trip up to Taos, which is up in the mountains of north central New Mexico, and there we visited with the Chili Line, which is a very traditional rural transit system, but serving a very unique community. Taos has a artistic history, and as well, the Taos Pueblo is one of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So a lot of things to see there, and transit has a role there that might be a little different. In between Albuquerque and Santa Fe runs the Rail Runner Express, which is the very successful, it may look to some like commuter rail, but it's really kind of an intercity or regional rail service that connects Albuquerque with Santa Fe and connects with numerous local transit systems along the way, including Taos and including obviously Santa Fe Trails and ABQ Ride. That system has been around since 2006, and really, according to some of the communications we had, really changed the face of all of transit and kind of the image of transit as well across New Mexico. From Santa Fe, we headed east almost to the Texas border, where we visited with CATS in Clovis, New Mexico, a rural system in a small town. Cannon Air Force Base is located there. I have to say, some of the friendliest people we've ever sat and chatted with about transit. We had a wonderful morning that we spent with the staff at CATS, and also one of the nicest transit facilities, just the building. Great, and what wonderful service they're providing, service kind of disproportionate to the population, and doing a lot of important trips, dialysis trips, and some of the things that we tend to see in rural areas. From Clovis, we headed back towards the central part of the state and visited up in the hills of south central New Mexico. We visited with Lincoln County Transit, which is in Ruidoso Downs, but also serves a region that includes the town of Ruidoso and some other towns within that area. Lincoln County Transit, again, very traditional rural service, services parts of a Native American reservation, which you see, again, as a kind of a unique facet of transit across New Mexico, and great leadership there. And as well, the kind of service that we're familiar with seeing when we've traveled in other rural communities, and is relatively new. Lincoln County Transit started in 2009. From there, we headed back again towards the south and to the west, and we ended in our last visit of the week was in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and that was with the good folks of Roadrunner Transit, which is in a town that is a very fast-growing part of the state due to both the economy and the climate, and a system that's really having to kind of change itself to meet with a growing university community and a lot more seniors that have moved into the Las Cruces area. So those were the systems that we visited personally on our trips. You'll also see we visited one morning with David Harris and the staff at the New Mexico Division of Transit and Rail. Great staff there. We had a chance to kind of sit in with one of their sub-grantee meetings and met a lot of folks that way as well, and got a good sense of kind of how the DOT supports transit across the state in numerous ways, and kind of plays the role not only of an oversight agency, but also really of an agency that is giving great assistance to transit systems, urban and rural, across New Mexico. New Mexico is a beautiful state. There's a color palette there that's different than almost any of the other states we've ever visited, and it's a state where you can go from desert to mountains, from pine trees and pine forests to kind of plains in the course of a few hours. And it's also a state, it's I believe the fifth largest or fourth or fifth largest state when it comes to square mileage, and yet there's a little over 2 million people in the entire state. So it's also kind of transit is finding its niche and its role across New Mexico. And I hope that in this edition of the magazine, some of the kind of special attributes and characteristics that we saw across the state come through and shine through in these articles as you read them. And this edition of Digital CT Magazine is really designed to whet your appetite, all of you readers out there, to come to the Community Transportation Expo, which will be June 2nd through the 7th in 2013 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I'm sure many of the systems that you see here, and then other systems that will also, you'll if you listen to the podcast that's attached to this magazine, you'll see that we talked to a system up in Los Alamos, Atomic City Transit, who wasn't on our schedule, but yet at every stop we made, people kind of said, oh, you got to talk to Atomic City Transit. They're doing such wonderful things. So through an interview and a podcast, we're able to kind of bring their story into the edition. All these stories, though, we know you, the community transportation reader, will find great new ideas, but also you'll find comfort in some of those values and the spirit of community and public transit that we always see. So, as always, thanks for being a reader of the magazine. We appreciate all the time and effort that you put into staying up with everything we do. And I do hope that this magazine, everybody that takes a look at it, finds some value and some things that you can add to your system and continue to grow transit around the country. Thanks.